right here and click the bridge button. Now I'll just connect everything like that. Just ensure that triangulation is correct by going up from the top and making sure that none of the triangles are back facing or something, which they're not, so everything looks good. If you want to double check, you can just go into the edit triangulation mode and look at where the dotted lines are going. Everything looks fine, so it's all good. Now that that's done, we have to connect this bottom face with the torus. So click this bottom face, drag up. Go ahead and delete it at this point. Just gonna go ahead and save just in case. This is kind of tricky connecting a cylinder to a cylinder, but it is possible, of course. I'm just gonna see where all the vertices align and hit each other. Okay, so this edge is gonna hit on the exact top. This edge right here is gonna hit right there, and this very outer edge is gonna hit right there in the middle. It'll be fairly easy to do, but I'm just gonna do something real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this middle of this cylinder right here twice and pinch it outward just so things are not in the way. I'm going to delete the newly created polygons right there in the middle. Now I'm going to select the height coordinate of this vertex at the top and transfer that to the border. Now I'm going to go ahead and target weld this vertex to there, and the same over here. Now copy the height coordinate of this vertex right here and transfer that to every vertex that will be at that level. And then target weld everything else to there. Now just do the exact same thing with the last one. Copy the height coordinate of that and transfer it to these two. And target weld, of course. Alright then. I'm just gonna go ahead and weld everything else that's to fill in this gap real quick. Just type in an insane number and it'll weld anything pretty much together. Wait a second. Something's not working. Okay. Now I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit right here, so I'm gonna delete or target weld all these unused vertices to the side. Just to make things a little more professional, I'm going to create edges right there and right there. There you go. Perfectly connected. The only thing left is to apply smoothing groups to that, which of course is really easy. Just gotta make sure you apply the right ones. That has a smoothing group of 1, so we don't want it to blend completely with this other thing it's connected to. So we want to give it a smoothing group of 2. There we go. Looks pretty good. Except for the fact that this thing up here also had a smoothing group of 2. So we need to fix that real quick, because these are trying to smooth together. So just select everything up here and hit the clear all button. Now everything looks decent. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and create that that hanging wire tube type thing that goes with loops. There's 2 loops over there, but that's just because there's 2 of these sections connected together. I'm just going to create it in a way where it can be connected end and end without any seamless, or any seams, that is. Okay, so go ahead and to create that, I'm going to go into the front viewport. I'm going to create a line to the center of this. Just like that. And to get that, hold on, it's way off in the distance. That's no problem. I'll just move it over here. Okay, to get it to create the cylinder like that, just enable the renderer and enable in viewport. Give it a thickness of 8 units and 8 sides. Again, you can use less sides if you want to conserve polygons, but I'm just going to use this many because I want everything to look decent. Okay. So just go ahead and convert that to an editable poly. Delete the ends. Go ahead and select your normal object and attach it to this new cylinder. Find the coordinates of the end of the model and then transfer that to the border end of this, so everything lines up. Do the exact same thing for the other side. Okay, it looks pretty good. Okay, now to do that bent thing, I'm going to go ahead and first of all I'm going to connect it in the center once by just selecting all the edges and then hitting connect. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to move down these borders on the edge to make it more of a curved type of tube thing. So select your 2 borders and then just kind of drag them down like so. I'm just putting them at the same height as I did over here. Once again, these are all decisions you make as you go, but actually that doesn't seem to be the same height at all. I gotta check that real quick. Okay, just a little too high. I'm gonna move it down a bit. And that looks pretty good, so now what I'm going to do is once again connect these edges. This time with, well, saying 1 segment each. I'm just gonna kind of drag it down a bit, halfway. Just to whatever looks decent. I think that's about right. Then I'm going to go into the chamfer tool and do that by however much is needed. looks a little straightforward, so I'm just gonna drag it down a tiny bit. Should be fine. Alright then. That looks pretty good, so I'm gonna make this top edge a little rounded to make it more realistic, like I did over there. To do that, just select every top edge, making up the sharp corner here. And go ahead and chamfer it, but not too much, probably about, well, I'd say 4. I think 4 would be acceptable. Then I'm going to reconnect the center right here to make it even more rounded. Just connect it once and drag it up a bit. And that should look pretty decent. Just tweak that however much you want it to go. Another thing you want to do is make sure that this section isn't intercepting any other polygons, which as you can see it is. It's not actually lined up yet, so I'm going to do that real quick. Just going to line it up with the center right here. And I'm just going to bring it up a little bit so it doesn't intercept anymore. As you can see, there's a small gap in between there, and that's perfectly acceptable. As far as I know, I'm not sure for other game engines, but that should be okay for Halo, which is the thing I'm designing this for. It's enough to where it shouldn't cause an error, but not enough for it to be noticeable when you're down here and you're just looking at it. Okay, it looks pretty decent. I'm actually gonna bring it down just a tiny bit more in the end, but not too much to matter. Like I said, I'm just lining up exactly with my earlier model. Not necessary, but I'm kind of perfectionist. I'm just going to tweak that a little bit just to make it look good. Well, that's odd. Okay, something's messing up, but hold on. Okay, so I'm just going to align this a little bit. Actually, I think that looks pretty good. It's just this thing right here looks a little too straight. Same thing over here. I'm just gonna bring that down just a little bit. What the hell? Something's screwing up. That's really weird.